Today Google went on a bit of a releasing spree. We got Gemini CLI getting sub-agents, a new text-to-speech model, a native Mac app, and a billing update for the Gemini API. On the OpenAI side, they pushed a meaningful update to the Agents SDK, so let's get into it. Google just shipped sub-agents for Gemini CLI, and it's worth understanding what that actually means in practice. When you give an AI agent a complex task, the whole thing runs in a single context window. The longer the task, the more that context fills up with intermediate steps, search results, tool calls, all of it. By the time the agent gets to the parts that actually matter, it's carrying a lot of baggage and has used up a lot of context. That's the problem sub-agents solve. Sub-agents let Gemini CLI delegate specific tasks to a separate specialist agent, each with its own context window, its own system instructions, and its own set of tools. So the main agent stays focused on the overall task, while a sub-agent handles something like a deep code-based search or documentation lookup in isolation. When the sub-agent finishes, it reports back a single consolidated response, so the main agent only sees the result, not every step it took to get there. You can let the main agent decide which sub-agents to use automatically, or you can direct a task to a specific one using the @ symbol followed by a sub-agent's name. So if you want to go straight to the codebase investigator without the main agent making that call, you just prefix your prompt with @codebase_investigator or whatever other subagents you want to call. Custom subagents are defined as a simple markdown files with YAML front matter, and you can place them in your home directory for personal use or commit them to a repository to share with your team. Each one specifies a name, a description, and which tool it has access to and which model it runs on. One thing worth noting, sub-agents run without asking for user confirmation by default. So if you give a sub-agent write access to files and shell commands, it will use them without prompting you. Worth keeping in mind when you're setting up tool permissions. Each sub-agent on Gemini 2.5 Pro gets over a million token context window, which is roughly 5 times what Claude models offer per agent. So for tasks that need to hold a lot of memory at once, that is a real difference. Sub-agents are now available in the Gemini CLI, so make sure you guys try them out. Google also released a new text-to-speech model today called Gemini 3.1 Flash TTS, and the main thing that separates it from previous version is control. Most TTS models kind of work like a black box. You put text in, you get audio out, and if the delivery isn't quite right, you don't have many options. Gemini 3.1 Flash TTS changes that by letting you steer how the audio sounds using over 200 audio tags embedded directly in your text input. So instead of just submitting a script, you can tell the model to pause mid-sentence, read a line like it's excited, or shift the pacing at a specific moment. You can do things like add emotional instructions, use bracket notation for pacing, or include sound effects like a laugh in the middle of a line. It's closer to directing a voice performance than just running a conversion. On the Artificial Analysis TTS leaderboard, which tracks blind human performance comparison, it scored an ELO of 1,211 and landed in what the benchmark calls the most attractive quadrant for balancing speech quality against cost. That last part matters if you're running voice at scale. This is not just a quality improvement, it's also a pricing one too. The model also handles multi-speaker dialogue natively without needing a separate API call for each voice. Traditional pipelines stitch voices together, which creates unnatural pacing between the speakers. Handling it in a single pass keeps the conversation flow intact, which is useful for things like audiobooks, podcasts, or any kind of back and forth dialogue. It supports over 70 languages, and all audio is watermarked with Synth ID that allows AI-generated audio to be detected. This is a part of a broader Gemini 3.1 audio push. Flash Lite came out in March targeting low latency, high volume use cases, and Flash Live dropped shortly after for real-time voice agents with bidirectional streaming. Flash TTS is the latest piece of that. It's available now in preview on Google AI Studio and Vertex AI, so check it out for yourself. Before we continue, we just launched the Universe of AI newsletter. If you want to stay on top of AI news without having to hunt for it, link is in the description. Don't miss out. OpenAI just updated its Agent SDK with 2 new additions, a more capable harness, and a native sandbox execution. Before this update, even if your agent logic was working, you still had to build all the infrastructure around it yourself. Memory, file access, sandbox execution, tool integrations, none of that came standard. You're writing a lot of code just to support the rest of it, and every time OpenAI shipped something new, you had to update your own stack to keep up. This update gives developers two things they previously had to build themselves: a proper harness and a native sandbox execution. The harness is everything that keeps the agent running: the loop, the memory, how it calls tools, how it manages context. Before, you're responsible for all of that. Now the SDK ships with the file system tools similar to what Codex uses, MCP support, shell access, and a way to define custom integrations through agents.md. It's all included, which means less time writing infrastructure code and more time for developers to work on the actual agent logic. The sandbox is the other piece. Agents that do real work, reading files, running code, installing packages, need somewhere safe to do that. Without a sandbox, you're either accepting the risk of an agent touching things it shouldn't, or you're building your own isolation layer. The SDK now handles this natively, so agents get a contained workspace without you having to set that up yourself. The harness and sandbox run separately by design, and the separation matters for security. Your credentials live on the harness side. Any code the model generates runs in the sandbox, isolated from your secrets, so a prompt injection attack can't reach your API keys. And if the sandbox crashes mid-run, the agent state is saved externally and it picks back up in a fresh container automatically. You can use your own sandbox provider or pick from the supported list: E2B, Modal, Cloudflare, Vercel, Daytona, Runloop, and Blackcell. Storage works with AWS S3, Google Cloud Storage, and Azure Blob Storage. The same configurations run locally and in production, so you're not rebuilding anything when you actually go deploy your agent. One example that OpenAI mentions in their actual blog post is that Oscar Health tested this before launch and has said it made a clinical records workflow production viable that previous approaches couldn't handle reliably. This is also available now via the API at standard pricing and is Python first. TypeScript is coming later, with code mode and sub-agents also in progress, so we'll keep an eye out for that one as well. Google also launched a native Mac app for Gemini today. According to Josh Woodward, who works at Google, a small team built over 100 features in under 100 days, and the whole thing is written in native Swift, so it runs super fast. The main draw here is that it sits on your desktop without needing a browser tab open. You can pull it open with Option plus space for a mini chat, or Option plus shift space for full experience. There's also a menu bar icon if you prefer that. The other thing worth knowing is screen context. You can share a specific window with Gemini so you can see what you're actually working on and give you answers based on that, whether it's a document, a code file, or data. So instead of copying and pasting content into a chat, you can just point it to a window. Also worth noting, chat history and memory sync across desktop, web, and mobile as long as you're on the same Google account. It requires macOS Sequoia 15 or later and is free to download right now. Google AI Studio announced prepay billing for the Gemini API today, which is a pretty straightforward quality of life change for developers. The way it works is you buy credits upfront when you set up your billing account, make API calls against that balance, and you can set it to auto-reload when the balance gets low. No surprise charges at the end of the month, and you can see exactly where your spend is at any point from within the AI Studio. This pairs with two other billing controls Google rolled out earlier this year: spend caps, which lets you set limits at the project level, and updated usage tiers with clear quota visibility. The prepay setup isn't meant to be permanent. Once you build up a consistent payment history and move up to a higher usage tier, you can switch to a standard postpaid account if you want to, which gives you higher rate limits and lets you consolidate everything into your regular cloud billing. Right now, it's available for new Google Cloud billing accounts in the US that have the Gemini API enabled. Global rollout is coming in the next few weeks as well. But that's it for today's video. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, follow our new newsletter as well at universeofai.beehive.com, as well as subscribe to the main channel World of AI, and support us on X by following the Universe of AIZ as well. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.